Chance
Ryze and
select now
Vlad
on, yeah.
should be expected from WE here. Of course, you
Vladimir
have to
the first
remember that this is the other ban that they actually opted towards, and interestingly enough, they choose it over anything else whilst they're on red side.
Yeah, so Ryze is still available. Sivir and LeBlanc once again banned away. Is Hecarim away from Condi once again? And the Ryze, the suspected ban to come in here from WE. So, IG, the question, what do they go for? Probably not Pantheon.
Yeah, you might even say Gragas at this point.
Or the Karma pick away.
The Karma's definitely worth looking at for Tabe. The moment he's shown that he's entirely capable on Braum, though, if he really needs to.
And that 3-tank comp seems to be working out for IG at the same time, making sure that they have that huge front line.
And because they got rid of the Sivir with that ban, you would imagine, and of course this seems to be their preference, that Karma would be looked at, even knowing that WE can flex it, as this is potentially just going to be the same thing as Game 1 all over again.
We'll see whether WE can actually pull out a comp like that, as the only difference is they can't run the Sivir with that Karma. But WE can take away the Karma now if they feel like it.
Trundle Karma works. Or Gragas if they want to get rid of that from Kid.
Yeah, Trundle Gragas makes a lot of sense here as well, and they don't need to pick the Karma necessarily because IG don't tend to run that flex.
Yet, I feel like picking it away from Kid is still an over-investment because the Rek'Sai is still good from Condi.
Yeah, true.
And it's still worth being the Rek'Sai if you have the team to work around it. Mystic playing a immobile control AD carry was essentially the problem that they ran into.
Oh, and this makes sense. Mystic says, if you put down walls, I'm going to be able to get over them.
Yeah.
And locks it in. So Ezreal and Trundle taken away first here from WE. Trundle from game number 1 was fantastic, but it was in the hands of Zero, and already this is a bottom lane we've seen a lot of. Lots of disengage potential. They could lock that one away if they want to.
Yeah, definitely. So what WE put together so far is still a flex with 957, who is showing a massive inclination towards Aurelia, to be fair.
Yeah.
Trundle still denial from Zatai as well as capable to be a top laner and support. Ezreal Trundle, as you mentioned, lots of disengage. There should be very few situations where they're dying to a Braum Kalista. But they did give Kid that Gragas, and they did still give a comfort bottom lane to IG that worked for them in Game 2.
Well, we'll see what WE decide to do. Whether the Karma's looked at once again, can go to xiye. They can flex it around, put 957 on the Trundle on the top side of the map, depending on what IG do.
It's just funny looking at IG's drafting. It's like, hey, bottom lane, you pick, we're countering. At least one of us is getting a counter. That's what matters the most to IG.
Well, it is the Maokai picked up, so once again, Zero is going to be on the Trundle. Maokai locked in for 957. He's very comfortable on that champion, and like Kindred picked up into Gragas. It's very interesting.
That's not that bad. Like, you can understand what makes it bad into Gragas simply because you can cast them out.
Yeah.
You can body slam and disrupt them during, and you can knock them towards your team even with the Lancer Spite. He has high burst, but Kindred just does everything for this team, and because they've got a Trundle Maokai comp, they need damage to complement. Condi, if he wasn't going to be Graves, it was going to be Kindred. Maybe Elise if he wanted to go AP. And Hecarim that has been banned from him was the other option. I like the Kindred.
I also really like the Maokai pickup into Kalista. It's always been brilliant, just because Twisted Advance gets you onto the champion no matter how much she bounces away from you. There's a tie back to the Ekko on the top side of the map here as well. And now xiye to make his decision for the mid lane. This would be a tanky option.
And he's hovered it a couple times now. Would ultimately be unsurprising, but he knows it is against the Taliyah, who has a lot of lane pressure from a range.
Yeah.
A range that's potentially too far. However, if you catch that never move, look, he's probably dead.
Well, 30 seconds to go. They do have some time to make up their minds here.
Twisted Fate potentially is still better. Even the Lysandra, but here we go.
Yeah, so there's the Swain locked in for xiye. It is going to be 957, taking that Maokai to the top lane, and Zero once again on this Trundle. Not as much movement speed augmentation because they decided to step away from the Karma. We'll see whether they're still going to be able to make it work here in these fights. And IG have exactly the same comp. Like, it is precisely the same, apart from the fact that that Ekko is no longer a Maokai.
Which was taken from them, so they couldn't even get the same composition if they wanted it. IG, 4 of the 5 though. 4 successful. And now a carry top laner for Zatai, who's found his opportunity to actually be that 957 from game 1 and 2 into 957.
And we'll see whether he decides to build this sort of AP route that we've been seeing find a little bit more popularity in Ekko builds.
Yeah, Rod of Ages Ekko into Abyssal and Zonias is actually quite strong. Very much a personal preference thing, though, as Zatai would need to feel inclined to carrying.
Well, he certainly often is. As the coaches are going to shake hands, let's get into the deciding game between WE and IG. Here, ladies and gentlemen. And welcome back. We are into a slight pause as we have a look at Zatai, sorting himself out, getting himself ready. And we're hoping to get into this game as soon as possible. How does the Ekko change this comp, Rusty?
So they lost a hyper tank, basically, right? They've got an Ekko that is a happy medium between I can tank and I can do damage, but we still need to know what build he's going with that Ekko, because if it is AP, then he's not a tank. He's actually just a damage dealer. And we've got our rookie who's actually still on that Taliyah, something that we've seen from him now a few times. He's definitely inclined towards it and has been quite successful, at least in the last game, which means we put that with Zatai if he chooses to carry Ekko. That just means they have a lot of damage. I think the biggest thing to me is actually that they continue to choose Gragas and Braum, where they're giving options to the rest of their team, but it does once again cement them as a magic damage heavy team. Far too much in that direction.
Well, we are back into the game here, and we'll see exactly what does happen as Game 3 unfolds before us. See Condi now on the damage dealer here for WE. Kindred, still a powerful pick, and he's going to troll me to no end with the fact that Kalista and Kindred are in the same game, because for some reason, I feel like they're the same champion in my brain.
Yeah, they're just not. But
they are flat out not, Rusty. It's exactly right.
But your brain does what it does.
Yeah, and does some weird things as well.
So Grasp of the Undying, actually, the Masters of Choice for top laners. Yeah. You still continue to see it on 957 being Maokai. That makes sense.
Tabe's got it as well.
Yeah, so supports. The reason that you'll get it in the Trundle-Braum matchup is because they actually hit each other a lot. Trundle is always going to have it in this matchup, because that's how Trundle wins the lane, is he stands there and he hits the Braum, just delivers constantly, gets that grasp and out sustains them, does a bit of extra damage. So Tabe's adaptation to this is, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to match it. We'll see how that one pans out, but once again, no fervor of battle seen by Zatai on that Ekko. Means the damage is lacking, but the tankiness is there, and that's pretty much what that spells. He should be a tank Ekko.
Yeah, so not going to go towards that Rod of Ages build by the looks of things, unless he does. Just wants to have some tanky masteries to start things off, as Rookie and xiye going to duke it out here early on. Already again, trading a little bit better.
Same strategy to be seen, though, from Rookie. Level 1 hard push. Try his best to actually push xiye under the turret, and he's not a Lissandra this time around.
Yeah.
So that last hitting does suffer to an extent.
Especially when you're a Swain early on underneath the turret is difficult last hitting. Especially when you've got a lady throwing ice at your face.
Yeah. And so this is where the adaptation from Kid actually needs to be seen. He needs to get into the middle lane and help his mid laner. Because if Condi comes in on this Kindred, who is a heavy damage dealer, as a jungle threat, and Rookie dies, I'm actually going to blame Kid for that. Rookie's going to predictably play like this, force xiye behind in minions and experience.
Well, 957. He's going to join Condi here in the jungle. As you can see, lane swap has ensued. Tabe was trying to be frustrating, but he's not going to find too much joy. Rookie not exactly trading as well as he'd like here in this lane, as Tabe is going to make his way around, lands a Winter's Bite, and is then going to slink back towards the bottom side of the map.
There's a bit too much worked ground in the middle areas at the moment. Rookie now struggling to have room, which is why he's standing where he is. It might be forward, but he wants to get the maximum priority on that Q out. He's still doing well.
Yeah, saving things up.
I think the trading aside, CS is actually the important value between them both, because that's what Rookie's playing it for. Harass under the turret to stop him from getting last hits.
Well, now you can see Rain able to pick up all these creeps and now head towards trying to take down this turret, but WE have a little bit of an advantage for the moment, especially with Zero being a little bit higher auto attack priority as a champion on this Trundle.
Yeah, and Ezreal to empower them with that W. So
yeah,
they will still take this down quite quickly.
And Maokai has the highest base auto attack damage in the game.
Except for Mega now.
Except for Mega now, it's a very small percentage of the time.
Same thing with armor and MR and health.
Whoa, nice seismic shove. Xiye just bounces around a little bit. This Rookie, after using that potion, is going to be absolutely fine. Mystic grabs himself an early tier. He jumps out of this one. And the tower is going to fall. WE a little bit late, actually, as 957 has to follow this next creep wave in.
But it is going to die, and that's the thing. So slight tempo loss actually means a bit of extra minions lost. The Zero is actually caught.
Yeah, will get stunned up there as well, but gets the flash off over the wall. Kid immediately going to follow, and Rend is going to help lock that one down for Kid. Xiye now falling low in the mid lane as Rookie going aggressive. Torment still doing some work. The Xiye has to be very careful. May have to teleport back to this lane now.
Yeah, Rookie's still doing his part in this lane. You can see 10 CS between them actually spelling, honestly, disaster.
Whoa, another shove comes out, but Rookie out of mana.
Kid's got no flash, so that's very unrealistic for him. And Condi's also been baited to be nearby because all Kid did was walk in and tank the turret.
Just for a moment. Xiye is going to get some health back from that level up as Rookie just goes back home, standing on a ward, but should actually be safe. IG have 1,000 gold lead after all is said and done.
Yeah, and 1,000 during a lane swap's actually quite substantial.
Yeah.
It comes down to a lot to farm values usually, and 5 uppers AD carries, 4 uppers jungle with a kill, 8 in the middle lane. It's only small details, but together their combined total increased gold difference is definitely notable.
Well, you can see Zatai trying to break this freeze towards the bottom side as well. Should be able to do so with help of that Time Winder. Now standard lanes are going to ensue, so not opting to take down the other outers instead.
And what's handy about this is simply that Mystic actually got the tier with his first buy. A lot of people go towards the cull, and that's mostly because you don't have enough money to go towards the tier. And so by getting just enough farm, you would imagine, to have that tier with a single potion, Mystic has now set himself up to have standard lanes and duke it out and try and sustain with that mana pool against what is the boots purchase of Rain, which makes sense on Kalista.
Yeah, Martial Poise a little bit more effective now.
But there's not going to be a whole lot of damage from that.
Reset from the Ren comes in with help of that minion. Is Tabe going to help clear this one out?
So he looks really good on Kalista.
He does. Rain looks really comfortable. Of course, it's what we saw him debut on a lot.
Mm-hmm.
He did come in quite some time ago for IG. Is now Rookie. Does have the Weaver's Wall available. They're looking to try and cut off Condi potentially. Xie's going to make his way over. Beatrice going to help out.
Bit of zoning. Condi saying, get out of my jungle. That's actually Condi's job. He hasn't even had 2 stacks yet on his mark.
Oh god, Rookie hits all of the bolts.
The real problem is that the ground that he places down with the rocks. If they start wobbling, then you actually just don't want to walk through it because you'll take needless damage. So it's quite good as a zoning tool.
Yeah. Let's mention Rookie now gets another seismic shove. Gets the flash actually out as Kid. Doesn't have his available just yet, but still had to respect.
Yeah, you never know, and I guess the timing wasn't in his head for Xiye. They didn't actually address that quickly enough. He's also level 6, so the cask was possible. No risks, so that IG get no reward.
Now you can see WE still just holding on here towards the top side of the map. This lane matchup should be able to, as Condi now looking for his first gank. Parallel Convergence comes down for Zatai. Will be able to get himself a stun on the tree, but not on Condi. Does have to use his flash.
So they bait summoner spells out of the mid and top lane respectively for each team. It doesn't amount to a substantial anything, except the top lane is being hard pushed in a 2v3 right now. So Kid moving up here, recognizing that they're in a point of power and that there is no Kindred to respond to this. Very clever, honestly, from IG. They get themselves a turret for it.
Yeah, and looking to try and extend this lead, do so quite easily. As Rain thinking about shoving all the way through. Xiye picks himself up a blue buff, will be coveted from this Swain. Now Mystic hanging around. The rest
Feels
of the
too
team
burnt.
moving mid.
They're actually moving the long ray towards either ganking mid or killing him again in the top lane. So you can see the way Mystic's playing, with Rookie disappearing in particular. CA is like, nah, dude. Yeah. You actually can't be near that minion wave at all.
It's Condi as well now, just going to steal away the enemy red buff.
And that's ultimately a mistake from Condi not being towards his strong side of the map, because Kid just ganked mid, and his response is match the ganks in the top side, bottom side of the map, right?
Yeah.
But now he's getting 957 ahead, where the rest of the map of IG are definitely still prospering.
Now at least Condi is going to get some counter jungling done. This enemy Raptor camp is going to fall very effectively.
In the red.
He's just going to deny it. Yeah, after taking the red, of course. Zero now moving down. Mystic as well. Now they have a little bit of control here around this dragon area. We'll see whether Blood Razor is done. And no, it's not. So Condi opting for those Berserker's Greaves very early.
It looks like the Runic Echoes might be, depending on what Kid does. Yep.
Yeah, so
that means he's ahead.
Completed. Yeah. And has himself an extra Ruby Crystal there as well. So building up towards the tankiness, which is important here for the Gragas. Especially come these mid-game fights. And Mountain Drake is the first dragon as well. I have a feeling that they will be looking towards this.
You'd think so, especially given that they've put their team on the bottom side of the map. Now that Rain and Tabe are down there, you would expect them to look for this Drake and try and snowball that further, because honestly, this has been a good start for IG.
Yeah.
In a situation where WE in games 1 and 2 have actually put themselves in leads through early game, IG have bounced back in the third, and it feels like not only is Rookie winning his middle lane, that's something that he was basically doing every single time anyway, it's that Kid is really jungling well. Like he's pathing himself to let his map succeed.
Yeah, and he's heading around and picking up objectives as well, understanding that they can take that top lane out of turret, get themselves the global advantage with that extra turret that they did get. Of course, it started with a lane swap, so we're now 2-1 in turrets in favor of IG. And we saw Rookie on our screen just there. There was a sly smirk on his face, but he looked like he just wanted to get straight back into that game and straight back into ruining Xie's day, which he's been doing relatively effectively.
I mean, that's what you get for playing Swain, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely, I think that Rookie is at a point of power, but what stands out to me the most is actually that Kid's focusing the duo lane again.
Yeah, true.
And that's where the disparity lies. We looked at IG's recent successes that they've actually had. Has been Kid looking there, has been Kid addressing that duo lane as a point where he might actually want to focus it. Tabe, as a shot caller, and this is notorious for a lot of shot callers internationally,
yeah.
If the shot caller falls behind, the team generally suffers. And that's simply because the shot calling becomes a little bit more selfish or passive, saying that we can't do things when you obviously can do them.
Yeah.
Just simply because the support thinks the team is behind when they're not.
Yeah, and they no longer have those confident calls out of the shot caller as well, which is exactly what Tabe is able to do when they're in a winning position. So, yeah, and I actually find it really interesting because we didn't actually draw attention to the fact that Kid, for the first time, it feels like, is actually helping out that duo lane, despite it being on the top side of the map as opposed to the bottom side. So we'll see whether that triggers something in IG and tells them that maybe they need to give a little bit more to Rain and Tabe, especially when Rain is playing so well.
Well, that's the thing, though, right? So this is the first time in this series that we've seen it from them. But their last couple series where they've won games, even if they haven't won the series, remember they're 2-5 total, it was through Kid actually looking at that bottom lane and saying that I'm going to focus the duo, get them going. Rookie's always going to win lane. And the question is, do you want him to just win harder and snowball, but have the rest of your team suffer? Didn't work in game number 1. You can't afford to do that against WE, who are a team-fighting team. You actually need to get everybody ahead. Game number 2 is the best example of that. They had a full 5-man strength behind Rain doing his part as well.
Yeah, and it feels like IG have sort of discovered this new way of playing out their games, the fact that they are now empowering that bottom lane a little bit more. Whereas, now that we move into the third game, WE have almost reverted back. They had 957 on this carry in the Aurelia in the first 2 games. Worked out in game number 1 quite fantastically. Game number 2, they fumbled it. Now he's back on the Maokai. And how do you feel about how this will work as far as switching up how they attack this team comp out of IG.
It's very much back to what they know is comfort, and I actually quite like it because xiye is notoriously good at playing tanks in that middle lane.
Yep.
He's got the Nautilus in his back pocket that worked out well for him last split.
Yep.
He's a good Vlad player, but everyone's a good Vlad player. He actually stood out as a phenomenal Vlad player.
He did.
Level 1, he basically won lane, so work that one out. Swain is right up his alley in that respect. So now they've got themselves a tanky middle laner, super tank top laner, damage-dealing jungler, which is where Condi still looks comfortable being.
He does.
He's a really good Graves player. Makes sense that he's going to be a really good Kindred player, and he absolutely is. And that they can put all of their eggs in Mystic as the primary source of carrying, who also has self-disengage and self-peel. That gives a lot of time for Zero to do whatever he'd honestly like, and that is where WE look their best. And right now, they've drafted themselves to what is comfort, but it's also the best kind of it.
Yeah, most certainly is. And do you think there's going to be a problem here for the Kindred? Of course, we've spoken about the fact that Gragas was starting to be picked up once again when Kindred was sort of at a height, just because Explosive Cask is so useful. With the Weaver's Wall there as well, I'm not entirely sure whether this bodes well or better here for Condi on the Kindred pick.
It could actually do better, given that Taliyah cuts you off.
Yeah.
And you can just like prop your ultimate when you're low next to the wall anyway. They can't actually knock you anywhere.
That's a good point.
I feel like that's a very small, subtle nuance of what had actually happened in the team fights. And yeah, whilst we've seen Gragas picked into Kindred, we've seen Lee Sin picked into Kindred as well.
Yeah.
There's always the purpose of you can kick them out of that Lamb's Respite. Doesn't always mean that the Lamb's Respite's being used for the jungler. So
yeah, that's a good point.
maybe it's used for the AD carry, and it's going to have a harder time actually kicking an AD carry against the team that's got a Maokai in it. So that's risky,
Yes.
to say the least. And Gragas is good. And it's not going to be that good against all of WE.
Yeah, and of course, Mystic is back on his Ezreal as well. So into the sort of Karma Braum, the Kalista Braum lane, not necessarily working out so far in the early game with Ezreal and Trundle, which generally like to neutralize or sit back and farm. They're not going to try and aggressively win lane because there's a lot of disengage there. Mystic, though, notorious for taking over games once he hits that 2-item spike. Do you think he'll still be able to?
Yeah, he should be able to, but it's all about how he gets to that point. Because IG, they've shown that they can team fight with the team composition that they have. They just lost the Maokai, they added an Ekko. Didn't really matter too much. Their strength was in the Taliyah wall, comboed with the Gragas. And that's the core of their team comp that is still there. And I think we'll see that from them again. So honestly, we're looking at a heavy-hitting battle between initiation versus initiation.
Well, we'll see who's going to win as we do hop back into the game. Thank you for bearing with us during that pause, ladies and gentlemen. As xiye, once again, back on full health, thank goodness. That Ravenous Flock helping him out there, building towards his Rod of Ages as quickly as possible. Still behind, but only by a few CS.
And whilst we said that like IG's initiation is great, it's definitely noteworthy that they have all of that going for them with the Gragas Taliyah combo, even Kalista throwing Braum in.
Yeah.
WE's counterplay is still quite evident. They have an abundance of disengage in that respect. Trundle, very good at it. Kindred to keep people alive if they get caught out. And Mystic as well, being that Ezreal, to do the same thing.
Yeah, we are going to have one more quick pause, as you can see. A little bit of internet problem at the moment, I believe, could be the issue here. As you can see, Kid on your screen right now. He's chilling out, ready to get back into his game. Would like to, ASAP.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say we all would like to, but these things happen.
Yep, 957 now on your screen as well. And he's also champing at the bit. Hopefully we'll be able to get back into this one as soon as possible. Sometimes these things just happen. Just going to have to bear with it, make sure that we can get back into the game as soon as we can. And look, WE setting up for 35 minutes. IG, do we feel like they're on a clock here? Do they have to win early, or is this comp just going to be fine moving into the late game as long as they can get ahead in sort of mid-game team fights, that sort of thing?
I guess it's one of the ultimate questions that we can't directly say yes to, right?
Well, that's the thing, yeah.
Taliyah scales, but I don't know if Taliyah scales that well to the point where a Swain's going to be irrelevant. What I will say is that it's already Morellonomicon as the first completed item for that Taliyah.
Yeah.
So Swain's healing's a lot less. They have answers to that team composition, and they should be able to match the scaling. I think if we look at the 1 and 4, the split push that had actually come out from the Ekko against the Maokai, I'd say it starts to be a little bit more heavy-handed towards the Ekko, but ultimately, I think it just comes down to execution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And whether or not we can have these sort of comfort picks out of both Rain and Mystic carry through in the later stages of the game. Very mobile carries, have a lot of CC of their own, of course, in the Fate's Call, as well as the fact that Iceborne Gauntlet will be built up by Mystic. He can control team fights very well. We've seen him do it a lot in the past. And we'll see what is going to happen after that one, because Tabe has been starting up fights quite well. That Fate's Call working out well, giving him more abilities to initiate. And honestly, I feel like that actually helped out this team a whole lot in game number 2, giving Tabe even more ability to start off team fights.
Tabe he's like the hit or miss part of IG.
He certainly is.
His shot calling seems to always be fight. Like, and if he's ever caught out of position on that Braum, he will just throw his ultimate and hope that the rest of the team can follow him. And more often than not in the second game it worked, more often than not in the first game it didn't. And so that's basically the life and death of Tabe right now. I don't know if it's how he actually tells his team to get near him and they're actually like in a right position to fight when he pops the ult. But I feel like it is still him getting caught out of position a fair bit.
Yeah. And Zatai as well, of course. I mean, we haven't spoken about him as much. He had a good game on the Maokai, but he had a pretty lackluster performance on the Shen. He did play a lot of Shen back in the day. It was a long time ago. Of course, Shen has since changed, hasn't hopped onto the new Shen. Do we think that maybe game number 1, with his, I guess, almost laggy type performance, you'd almost say? Like he was just a little bit behind on the punch when it came to throwing down the ultimates, deciding on the teleports, landing the shadow dashes there as well. Unfortunately, couldn't get them in amongst it. Do we think that maybe it was just a lack of practice out of the top laner from IG?
I think it was just a disconnect communication-wise. And like we look at IG and we say that they've added Tabe for the sole purpose of shot calling. So you've added somebody who's now going to be able to not necessarily micromanage, but control team fights or control 5v5 objectives or 4v4 skirmishes.
Yeah.
What they aren't actively able to do then is tell Zatai when to ult as efficiently. And he was using that with other members of the team anyway, not Tabe. And so this communication felt lacking, and I don't know if it's just individually that Zatai is lacking in that communication front, or the person he's ulting to didn't say to ult.
That's a good point.
But he wasn't watching at the right times. He was always, I guess lagging is the right word, he was always 1 or 2 seconds behind.
Yeah, just couldn't quite answer at the right moment. And look, if IG are actually able to pull out a victory here, it's just going to again throw another spanner into the works as far as this cross-conference is concerned. We've had interesting victories from a lot of different teams. LGD sort of finding wins where they probably had no right to. And now IG poised, honestly, to take down this series from WE if they can make the team comp work the same way as it did in game number 2. This is a team that's -4 points right now, 5th on their ladder. WE are 2nd. They're positive. They got the 3 points. This is a team looking really, really good. What does this mean for IG moving forward? Because I feel like this could be the beginning of something good for IG.
Oh, it either means the beginning of something good for IG, or it means the Group A is just far better than Group B.
Hey, that's
what we're looking at right now, is IG being in Group A. They're currently struggling. They're 2-5 in their predicament as they stand.
Yep.
Group A, seemingly the stronger group. So what this means to me is, yeah, this could be the start of something in the right direction for IG, but it's really hard to say because this is cross-group conference. We're watching potentially the weaker strong points of Group B fighting the stronger weak points of Group A.
Yeah, that's a good point. And if we have a look down these groups as well, I mean, EDG, GT, Snake, IG, Nubian, Saint. So Group A was never the one that was expected to be stronger. That's the interesting thing, because you look across and you've got OMG, LGD, Vici, IMA, who actually look fantastic, especially after that first series, and then WE and RNG to follow up. And ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, we are going to throw to a short break. When we get back, hopefully, we're going to be back in for IG versus WE. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to our English broadcast of the Chinese LPL. We are currently in a pause between WE and IG, hoping to get back into the game as soon as possible. Of course, Rookie's playing Taliyah. We want to get back amongst it. I have a feeling things are fixing themselves, and hopefully we're going to be back onto the game as soon as possible. In fact, right now, as xiye is going to continue to farm minions in the mid lane. And hopefully Rookie was able to get that cannon creep.
Yeah. Look, legend has it that cannon creep is still standing there under the turret, but nonetheless, we are back on the Summoner's Rift, and thank the heavens for that.
Yep, and as the dust settles, IG, 2,000 gold in the lead. After that first blood, it was gained from Kid. On to 0.
Advantages everywhere on the map, honestly, is the name of the game for IG at the 11-minute mark in this third game, and that's a scary thing. Rain having a lead is unheard of, usually, on Summoner's Rift ever.
And he's 20 CS up too. Like, this is a big lead for the Kalista.
Yeah, exactly. So moving around this map at the moment, as I'm not sure, he's just zoning.
Yeah, throwing out a Q.
Is
working some ground.
So what they're actually doing, and that's what's cool about that, is he is zoning effectively with his ultimate.
Oh, and there's a Weaver's Wall there as well. Exactly right. So xiye sort of caught out. Teleport comes in from 957 just to make sure they can't take this turret. Then they'll utilize that lack of teleport and go down towards this dragon by the looks of things.
957 does have to hang around. There's no outer turret to defend, and so you'd expect them to go towards it. But WE, I guess, seemingly not looking to fight for it. In fact, everyone not looking to do this. They want to fight bottom.
Yeah. Condi does have a good position down there. There's a tie now with the teleport. He's going to find 957 again. 957 very comfortable on this Maokai.
There it is.
Yeah, and Kid going to start up the dragon now. We'll see whether he can lock it down by himself. Tabe looks to be coming over and giving him a helping hand. Might even stand behind him.
Better late than never.
Yep.
As they do go towards this Drake middle lane, still looking strong, and that's exactly what we expect to see from IG. The creative play around their Rock Weaver just goes into the jungle where they tried to clear out vision beforehand, where IG were actually pressuring the bottom side of the map quite deep. They work their way into the enemy blue side jungle. Rookie uses that lack of vision they had on WE's side, and then basically just throws out the ultimate to threaten what was a lone Swain sitting under that turret. And it feels like we're going to see that a few times in this game, because the mobility that everyone has on WE is quite substantial, except for that Swain and the front line of WE.
It's just a little bit difficult to kill the old Swain, as the seismic shove is going to try. But as you can see, not all that successful, as xiye pretty durable here in this mid lane. 10 CS behind, chucks down a ward, spots Rookie backing.
What an unusual recall animation that it has, though.
Yeah. It's a weird one. You can see 957, he's going back to base. Spirit Visage almost completed as item number 1. Not going towards Barmy Cinder early for any wave clear or anything like that. Rookie going to grab himself a blue buff. No vision available from WE, so we'll be able to lock that one down for himself. And Rookie clears out these minions underneath the turret very effectively. Now looking to create some pressure possibly on the bottom side of the map.
Nah, just doing Raptors. He's trying to be ahead of the clock. It's definitely a Rookie thing at the moment. He might do it after this next wave he clears, though. You got to remember that WE has set themselves up as counter gankers in this game.
Yep.
Kindred's looking to jungle and just clear as much as possible. But if the fight were to break out near Condi, then he will turn up at the right time. The rest of it is actually just placing vision, and that's the thing. Also going for that Tracker's Knife. Place as many wards as possible. WE have set themselves up as best they can, as Condi gets it.
Oh god, xiye says, what is going on?
The Q is meant to execute and below a certain amount of health.
Yeah,
which means he misplayed.
I blame Beatrice.
I wouldn't. Wouldn't blame Condi either. I'd blame the man behind the Beatrice.
Yeah, the old Swain. As Rookie is going to miss that cannon creep. It is in fact gained though by xiye. Seismic shove does bring him back in. Lands a nice Q onto the Swain at the same time and hits the double.
There's so much worked ground that he has none left.
There's a small window in the middle. Oh no, there's not. Never mind. It's just some weird pie graph.
He's Venn diagramming all
Venn
over
diagramming everywhere. That's what it is. Feels like a flowchart. Mystic trying to farm up underneath this turret, finding it a little bit difficult. This is Sheen with the Q. Oh, actually, now with the Iceborne Gauntlet, actually. So he's building up, getting close.
Yeah, and rushing the Iceborne Gauntlet opposed to having any kind of auto attack damage. It's cheap, reasonably efficient in the way of items. WE have now set themselves up in a position where Rookie's not falling for your tricks.
Yep.
And he just has so much wave clearance, so efficient in the way that he clears waves that xiye's response is that he has to use his ultimate to actually aid in that. And this is absurd. Like, the amount of control that IG have around anywhere past neutral ground, working their way into the jungle of WE and basically just stamping their foot at the front door and trying to kick it over. Sooner or later, something will change.
This is a team that wants to hit a mid-game power spike as well, especially with this Kalista with the 2-item spike. Never move, not going to find anyone. True Shot Barrage to clear out the minion wave. And WE look like they're in desperation mode right now.
There's just so much zone control for IG. You throw down that E from Taliyah. You've got a Braum, you've got a Gragas as well, and even Ekko when he joins the fray. Throw out that parallel convergence. That's the name of the game here for IG, is effectively just zone control. And it's working wonders for them.
Yeah, and Rookie as well just has so much wave clear, so xiye can't be that sort of brutal Swain that we've seen at all.
It's the Sivir effect in the middle lane, I guess is the best way to look at it. Sivir as an AD carry makes you focus on minions because she's constantly pushing them into your turret, the same thing as Caitlyn. And then you actually harass that person under the turret because they're focusing on minions. Swain is effectively running out of mana right now because of this same strategy.
You can see Rookie just continuing, in fact, tanking up the minion wave as there's never move. xiye, though, takes so much burst damage. That was just one Q proc from Rookie on his worked ground. Is Rain going to come in?
It does
Cheeky
do full
little
damage,
attack.
for reference. The first Q that hits does the most damage, the rest seed off.
Ah, yes.
And a proc to Thunderlords. But
That's
yeah,
why
Rookie's
the burst was outstanding.
Rookie's doing a lot of damage.
Well, there's the Weaver's Wall. Couple getting caught out of position. Again, a teleport coming in. This time, xiye making his way back to the mid lane.
Which is fine.
Oh, God. Seismic Shove does pull xiye back in. Already losing half his health bar, but Ravenous Flock will help him.
The thing is, IG don't want to fight that. They'd rather not force the Ty's teleport. And he was 10 CS behind. He's now near 20 up. This is still going the way of IG and the way they want it to go. They are playing towards WE's tendency of getting late game and team fighting. That's why they're starting to group up more and more here from the side of Team WE. But at the moment, it is still full control established.
Yeah, and the thing I like about it as well is that IG haven't hit the point where they want to be fighting just yet. 30% CDR now for Rookie.
Those points are very similar though, Atlas.
Yeah, no, they are.
The difference between these teams in gold, though, doesn't really amount to enough.
No, 1.5k.
So they'll hit it at the same time. And that lead was larger earlier in the game.
Yeah, it's actually been recovered by about 500 gold here for WE as xiye just clears out the minion wave. Does so very effectively. There's Rookie moving towards the bottom side. You can see Zatai now going to be the focus. There's a twisted advance as 957 looking for it. Zero throws down the pillar. Parallel convergence is here, but he's not going to be able to proc the stun.
He's so fast.
Yeah, using his Z-Drive Resonance. Just going to teleport here. 957, does he have it? There it is! As he flashes. The ultimate comes down from Zatai. He's still trying to buy time. We'll see whether IG can get anything. They grab the dragon, and now looking for this outer turret in the mid lane.
And they will get it for that one kill. And I believe the top lane turret had already been taken. It might not be, or it's about to fall. I think it becomes a trade, essentially. Well, IG get a Drake and the turret. Best case scenario for IG because they are just chilling out, playing that damage control. And they're out objective gaming what is an objective-based team.
Yeah, exactly. IG actually, in the end, do manage to get a further lead. You can see 957 is able to push this wave all the way up to the inner turret.
But again, the turret was already taken on that side of the map.
Oh, true.
So now they don't actually even get the turret. They lose one.
And xiye bounced back multiple times, has to flash, but he gets knocked up. Tabe secures it with his ultimate, and Rain is going to rend him to death. Mystic now taking a lot of damage. Arcane shifts away as Condi couldn't even use his ultimate to help out.
Rookie's just zoning them all away, and Rain is doing so much damage on this Kalista that they are pressuring WE off the turret whilst they're all here defending.
Oh god, Rookie is going to deliver 957 to himself. This could be dangerous as Condi getting a lot of damage down. 957 is going to kill Rookie. Tabe is going to fall. It's a double kill
this is big.
for the tree. Is Rain in trouble now as well? Big rend, but it's not enough. As Mystic's even able to grab a piece of the pie. This could be the comeback start for WE.
And that's the overstay as Kid is looking for Zero, but the decision to push the turret actually baits Zero away from the bush he was recalling in. Again, top side has the tie. They weren't looking to outright fight. They just wanted to poke and push them off the turret. It was a siege decision from IG, but by knocking 957 towards the Taliyah, Rookie secured his own death.
Yep, that was a seal your own fate type story.
It was still a flash twisted advance from 957, but aided with that.
Yeah, good capitalization though from 957, you have to say, starting up that team fight. And that is going to be the 2-item power spike here for Mystic as he goes back to base. So Manamune done. Lucidity boots there as well after that kill did come in. And he's 1-0-2, still feeling pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, we spoke towards IG's aggressive moves and trying to get themselves slowly ahead on the map with those moves. It's never going to amount to enough that WE are out of the game. And that's the point that they now are at. They now are at 2 big items for everybody across the board means that WE can fight again.
And it feels similar to Newbie taking on Aimee as well. Newbie just, they had some sort of an early lead in game number 1, but unfortunately just never got above a really impactful number. And this is happening this game as well. IG have found advantages across the map, and it looks like WE are struggling. They're just biding their time for now.
And it's even more impactful this time around, though, because it is against Team WE, whereas Aimee, known for that early aggression, maybe not being able to get a big enough lead, ultimately they lost themselves the game. We come into this series, though.
This is where WE want to be.
And it's scaling. That's exactly right. ETA 12 minutes.
Let's see whether they can get it done. Baron has been up for 2.5 minutes. Not being looked at by either team, but there is vision around. Pink ward up the top here for WE is going to be cleared by Tabe. Beatrice is going to eat some creeps. xiye looking to clear, but giving a lot of respect to IG. Could potentially be around.
Tepid movements. WE are really patient. And that's the problem, is they can continue to play like this. Waiting for something to happen. IG have good engage. They have a lot of good utility with that Taliyah ultimate even to catch people out. Kid just hasn't been getting it done like he did last game. This Ezreal composition makes life far easier as well.
Well, there's a teleport from WE. They're looking for it as the Fates call comes out. Rain still looking for a re-engage as...
Nice knock up.
Yeah, really nice seismic shove as 957 gets his home guards broken. They're not going to be able to find anything more. WE now looking to try and get some sort of siege here into the mid lane.
Yeah, and they push through that minefield as well. Too slow, so Rookie gets out, which means the wave clear stands. But Maokai being picked into Kalista might actually help out WE here.
And
diffuses a lot of team fights.
Too. Never move, lands under Zatai. They decide not to pull the trigger, just trying to get some cheeky damage if they can onto the turret.
They shouldn't pull the trigger against the Gragas Ekko comp. And Braum, for that matter. And this is a real, like, both teams have drafted themselves into a way where they have disengage everywhere.
Yeah.
They have the double up of engage, but you can't really afford to just look for that engage. So under turrets is a no-go zone, unless you've found, like, the perfect dive engage. In which case, neutral objectives is what they want, and that is literally WE's specialty.
Well, xiye as well, now with a fair bit of wave clear. That stacked up Rod of Ages as well as his Spirit Visage, helping him stay healthy and absolutely fine. Rookie now heading towards the side lane, teleport available.
And he'll probably teleport for the Drake.
Yeah, it is going to be up in another 25 seconds. I believe it is going to be an Ocean Drake, if I remember correctly. But I often don't, so don't quote me. Yeah, Mountain might make sense too. Can't quite remember. Haven't been in that pit for quite some time. We'll see in 14 seconds.
And both AP carriers of this team are going to be pretty big. And they've got their items. They've got their blue buffs, so bonus AP now in the back pockets.
And Rookie just finished that Ryze Crystal Scepter as he teleports to the mid lane, wants to get here for this dragon, which is in fact the Mountain, like you said. WE are already in position. Rookie shoving out that mid lane as 957 has started off this dragon. They pull it out of the pit. Now turn back around onto it. Condi will see whether he can actually get it, as there are no Ren stacks in this at all. As the barrel does fly in, it is going to be locked down by Condi. Weaver's Wall comes in. Condi bounces over the top as 957 not going to be engaged on.
They want to go mid though, IG. They just want to pressure them out, utilize that inside track and get the second inner turret. For a Drake, it's still a decent trade, but WE are pushing in.
Yeah, the pillar goes down there as well as 957's going to get engaged on. No knockup comes in as he's looking for the twisted advance. Not going to find it there. Nice knockback. 957 taking some poke damage. Ultimate erupts and Rookie continues to be aggressive, but Condi as well going to do the same thing. He's taking a lot of damage, and Tabe as well in trouble. Zero gets knocked forward, flashes out of the way. None of this CC's landing from IG as there's another seismic shove. Rookie gets a decent Q over the top, but 957 very durable. No one to die just yet.
Yeah, they're too tanky, but honestly, IG are still being pushed away. WE do not push their luck, though, because the disengage and wave clear is still very much evidence. And this is exactly what we're going to see, honestly, for most of these team fights, unless something really breaks. They're just tanks.
Yeah.
Everywhere, and there's no void staffs available for any of the carries because they're all hybrids between tanks and damage dealers. Blade of the Ruined King is the best thing we'll see from Rain for the moment, as well as Last Whisper for Mystic, still bridging themselves towards a point of actual relevance.
Yeah, both going towards that Last Whisper upgrade, but it looks like Rain wants to make sure that this Swain isn't going to be healing, as well as 957 with that Sap Magic. And Zero, of course. Everyone very durable, and a lot of sustain on the WE roster. Trishop Barrage flying towards the top lane.
It's about engaging and disengaging at the right times, knowing when you can fight, knowing how you can push your limits. Actually get you into a team fight successfully and come out with a lead. Of course, with the Drake being down as well, Baron is to be the primary point of contention.
Yeah.
Where vision is starting to be established, and you can see that starting to work out. But IG being on the blue side of the map means they have the natural control of it through rock formations that benefit their side, being the map.
Yep.
And Taliyah.
Well. Halfway on his teleport cooldown as xiye is going to make his way in. And Rookie going to shove this wave to the turret as best he can. Ravenous Flock will help xiye out. His Seismic Shove going to deliver xiye once again into the hands of Rookie.
It's really uninteresting watching him regenerate it all, though.
There are so many pings, though, towards this Baron pit. Everyone wants to get in there. Mountain Drake is available. They've got a Kindred. This is a big deal as 957 clearing out vision, and WE now gaining sole control of that bottom side. Rookie understanding he has to move away with no teleport.
They're pulling them around the map, WE, where they excel definitely within objective control. You're right, they'll do it quickly. It is Condi. 957 can tank it as well, as Mystic's damage would complement. They take it down pretty quick. But because IG were looking at this bottom turret, and I'm not too sold on why they were looking at it so aggressively, WE just forced them to at least leave the turret by looking at Baron.
Yeah, and IG just wasting a little bit of time here as well. WE closing that gold gap by a little bit more each time. 400 gold now stands between IG and WE, and that is nothing.
Yeah, so 28 minutes into this game, the fact that nothing stands between them, on paper you'd be like, yeah, congratulations, WE.
Yeah.
But last time, game number 2, they were actually ahead at this point in the game, and then they lost.
Yeah, and it was due to some really good teamfight orchestration here from the IG roster. We are going to have another pause. As you can see, Zatai getting a little bit sleepy by the looks of things.
Right, it feels like the same issue again, unfortunately, for Rookie.
Yeah.
As, hopefully it's resolved soon.
Certainly hope so, because especially if this is getting into their heads, because WE, they're probably feeling comfortable, real comfortable, because this is heading towards that 35-minute mark. Having a look at Kid at the moment, glancing around, now having a look at us. How you doing, guys? And look, WE, very comfortable. IG need to make plays like they did in game number 2. We've said it before, Weaver's Wall, got to be in the right place. But one thing I didn't know is you can just dancing arrow over the top of it. So Condi never going to be caught out of position.
Of course. And I also think we probably won't see it. Proto Belt's one of the few things you can get over the Taliyah.
Oh, really? Oh, so it's sort of like any other player-created terrain.
Yeah.
And so you could probably tumble over it with Vayne.
There's been a lot of interesting interactions with that. I hope we don't see that
Really?
ever. You can get caught in the middle of it.
Oh, that's not good.
And just hang out, like just in a wall. You can't actually move after that point. So
All right.
there's some interactions that happen with Taliyah. I think everyone's very much aware of what they have been.
Yep.
And moving into the next fights, I hope we don't see a proto build, just in case he gets stuck.
Yeah, let's just hope that doesn't happen. Of course, Trundle Pillar is another thing that people can get stuck inside. A little bit of a problem there as well. But it is good for Condi, knowing that he can aid either side of the wall, and does mean that that ultimate isn't going to be as impactful as it was otherwise, because it was used against Mystic fantastically well by the IG roster, because he was on Ashe, couldn't get over the wall. Now he's on Ezreal, can easily get over the wall. Condi on the Kindred, easily able to get over that wall. 957 doesn't care. He's a big old tree, happy to just plant himself wherever he wants. If he's in the enemy team, that sounds like a good idea for him. However, Swain, also pretty burly, will be able to just buy time until that wall is gone and the rest of his team can turn up. So WE probably crafted themselves a little bit of a better comp to avoid this sort of split-up problem.
Yeah, and what they actually crafted for themselves that's better this time around is simply just Mystic playing Ezreal.
Yeah.
And actually playing someone that has mobility, whereas last time around the walls were great, but the only real primary function of that wall was to kill the Ashe.
Yeah.
And so you take the Ashe out of the equation, you put an Ezreal there instead, pretty much going to have a good time with that. Yeah, you can catch all the tanks out, but they're tanks. And then they're just going to soak the damage, and the wall actually separates the carries where they can hit from the other side of it.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, we'll see exactly what does happen, because IG have actually just been stalling this game out for quite some time. And they're the ones with the onus on them, honestly, it feels like, especially because WE just like playing in the late game. It's sort of like you can put team comps aside, because IG generally win earlier on if they're going to win at all, and WE will always win after 35 minutes, and that is just it. That's the story, and that's how it works. So we'll see whether IG are going to be able to put some aggression in there, but at the moment it just looks like they've ran out of petrol.
They've got the petrol ready in one hand, you know, they just haven't put it into the car yet.
Yeah, well, they really need to start, like, what are they doing? Just chilling out at the service station, doing nothing?
They're just
gas station, sorry guys.
Hopscotch. Just having a good time. No, they should be. They should actually start looking to be a little bit more proactive, but they're struggling to actually get it done.
Yeah,
I think that just comes down to what WE and IG have both drafted themselves in terms of team compositions, as they're both just designed to disengage.
Yeah,
they can team fight, but that's only if one's going forward and the other one's kiting backwards. They basically like collide and then both run away.
And so it's just diffusal.
Yeah, there's no situation where I'm looking at these teams and saying, oh, you know, like the Gragas will flash engage and he'll get them. And then suddenly you've engaged on a Swain anyway. And like, that's good for the other team.
Yeah.
So that's basically the crossroads we're at.
Yeah.
IG, they got an early lead. They got themselves the turrets. It was about 3,000 to 4,000 gold ahead. Now it's nothing because they can't die of the enemy team. The Taliyah walls work twice in middle lane. It's a Swain.
Exactly.
And so he stood there and pressed his R key. He was like, come at me. They
it's
didn't
like,
come
wow,
at him.
you hit all of your abilities. Unfortunately, that doesn't do anything at this stage of the game. Yeah, just is a bird for quite some time. And look, you mentioned Mystic there as well. I mean, he's finished off his Mirror Mana. This guy is at his 2-item spike. He's got a Last Whisper sitting there as well. I believe it's turned into a Lord Dominic's Regard already. So Mystic, often able just to find farm in the mid-game no matter what happens. It's a large reason why WE are so successful as they move into the later stages of the game, because Mystic is often equipped to carry them through it as best he can from that 80 carry spot. Has done it a heck of a lot on this Ezreal as well. And do we feel like as we hop back into the game and there is a Braum ultimate just chilling on the rift in the middle of the river, possibly Tabe setting himself up a bridge and found that he decided he did not want to cross.
It's not a very efficient bridge. I'm sorry, you were going to say a question.
I can't remember that because we got back into the game. Never mind.
Well, we are back in.
Just saying that, you know, is Mystic going to be able to carry them this time, I guess, could have been the end of my question.
Sure. Yeah.
Inconsequential.
Why not?
Yeah. This is what we want to be talking about, though, as Mystic, as we were talking about, picking up farm, is going to be able to do so effectively. And Zhonya's Hourglass almost completed here for xiye.
And he's patiently waiting for his blue buff to spawn, so he'll pick that one up now also. And we're at that point where all of the farm in Rookie's hands is actually quite far ahead from xiye, honestly.
Massive.
Big item spike, I think most importantly, is the difference between them with that farm. No zone is to be seen from xiye. Probably just pick it up now and just prove me wrong anyway. There you go.
There it is. Perfect.
Nice.
But he has a little bit more of an expensive build on the side of Rookie with that Needlessly large rod item in the Ryle's Crystal Scepter.
Well, also
Putting it
Morello's
over.
costing more.
Yeah, true.
Plus 3,000 now.
So it just has the luxury items, you know? Better versions.
He's got the S tiers.
Yeah. Porsche items.
Swain's actually way too big now as well. Diving him is not really a consideration. Whilst they have healing reduction, the zone use is going to prove to be an issue.
Not to mention 957's getting towards... Oh, he actually went for the Iceborne Gauntlet. I was going to say Frozen Heart could be a good idea against the likes of Rain and a Trinity Force Ekko.
Yeah. Zataya's going to go for the Trinity Force instead of the Iceborne Gauntlet.
He thinks he's Fizz.
He just likes Trinity Force on the current patch. And, I mean...
Well, no. He likes Trinity Force in general.
Yes. I know.
Yeah. I had to.
I know. Either way, he's going to pick up the Trinity Force. He's going to be Ekko with that instead of having, you know, the AP damage route or the tank route. He's just going to find a happy middle ground where Zatai is happy.
Mm-hmm. And look, if Zatai's happy, IG are often happier as well. This is a team that does like to play together. And we'll see whether that does help, having the better item builders. Condi is going to flash out of the way. Tabe misses his ultimate due to the fact that that summoner spell was used. So IG looking to try and start something, but don't manage to. And the Dragon, Mountain Drake number 3, actually.
He's just straight up hit that Baron.
Yeah, all the way in there. Weaver's Wall actually going to put up a defense.
They're just being zoned. They think they can do the Baron quick enough that they're going to zone them off for the entire thing. No way.
Well, Rookie is going to get all the way in amongst it. Does Zonya's himself, but he's going to fall down. Condi locks it up. True Shot Barrage flying through as xiye just says, cheers for the leash, bro. And he's going to jump straight into that Baron pit. It's a tie now. Little bit of damage done.
Kids on steal duty,
trouble.
though.
Yeah, exactly. Can he actually steal it away from the son of Baron as they pull all the way off it? Kid over to the side. Rain in trouble. Never moves, not going to find it, but Mystic's taking the bull by the horns. Takes down 2 members there with the help of the rest of his team. And now WE with 5 members strong, looking to try and take this Baron against 2.
Yeah, and WE's fantastic shot calling puts them in this position.
There's the explosive cast, but Kid's going to fall down. Mystic picks up the kills. Zatai now in trouble as the Lamb's Respite will keep everyone alive for the moment. Zero is attempting to get rid of the Ekko, and WE lose no one, take a Baron, and win a team fight.
And that's entirely IG's fault. The Taliyah, the idea is amazing. They have a Kalista with a Blade of the Ruined King to chunk out the Baron, but they don't have any other damage on that team when Rookie's the one zoning. So you throw down that wall, you send the Ekko to zone instead, and you try and damage that Baron. They ran out of time on that clock, basically, of what is the Taliyah ultimate. And WE just walk in and say, thanks, man.
Yeah, cheers.
Like, you leashed us for a solid 5 seconds and get themselves that. They get the kills with it, and now they're looking for the Drake on top of it. And as if IG really just didn't want that game. Really clever idea. Really missed execution.
Yeah, and it feels like sort of a repeat situation from the newbie game we had set number 1. Because it came down to a Baron, and it was a bad call. And it felt like desperation here as Condi doesn't have the ultimate. He has to actually be careful.
Yeah,
can't get seismically shoved around.
Yeah, but the Baron buff should still actually give WE enough tools to work side lanes at the same time. They're going to have a hard task breaking mid.
Yeah.
Given that it is a Taliyah. However, if you keep her under there for more than 3 waves, too much work to grounded be there. Could actually cause some problems.
Not to mention the extra tankiness of the melee minions getting in the way, meaning that he can't prioritize that backline. You can see xiye just split pushing here on the bottom side of the map.
And this is what they actually want to do from the side of WE, because one of the teleporters is that Taliyah. They can brute force their way into mid by taking her out of the equation.
Yeah, and Mystic actually has a lot of damage. Blade of the Ruined King completed now as well, which is huge. That's 4 items done for the Ezreal. He's almost completed his build at this stage. 4 items is almost enough for the blue Ezreal.
Yeah, just needs either the Mercurials or something else that he would like, really.
Bloodthirster.
He's got all of his items.
Yeah, luxury from now on as this inner turret is going to fall.
And bottom fell as well.
Yeah, Rookie was unable to hold it. And IG just watching their structures fall left, right, and center. 1 more inner turret remains. It is going to be in the mid lane. An important turret as well, because losing that one opens up everything for WE.
It's so tough to hold. WE have just taken every single thing that belongs to IG. 3 turrets, blue buff, and now xiye's got his own with teleport up. Doesn't look like they're slowing down anytime soon. And Taliyah still has not joined the fight yet.
And all of a sudden, it's a 7,000 gold lead as well. This Baron power play is gigantic from WE. Of course, getting an ace while you grab it is definitely a good idea if you're that team. But that's also xiye with a completed GA. Like, yeah, good luck ever killing him.
Yeah, the Swain's too big now. The Swain was too big with 3 items. He's now past that point. It comes down to literal perfection. Like, if they don't get the perfect engage, WE are going to probably walk over them.
Well, they're currently just walking down the mid lane here as well. 957
Meanwhile,
happy to
bottom.
tank everything. As, yeah, you can see xiye pushing with impunity. And Mystic able to land these Qs like he's named after it.
He's being a Trundle. The xiye is actually like the mid lane Trundle pick. What's that going to do?
They have an actual Trundle.
No, why'd he ult? Walk away, there's no minions.
No, he just likes being a bird.
It's time to spend gold, though, from WE. You just have to remember 4 turrets taken. Starts to add up. With the next purchase of items, they don't have a neutral or epic monster to look for. So, re-establish side lane control. Place pink ward vision, namely.
Yep.
Near perhaps the Drake. Or advance it further into the enemy jungle and continue to look for picks. Because a big pick now could spell disaster for IG.
You can see Mystic, he has his Mercurial Scimitar on the way as well. That QSS is completed. 957 without Baron buff anymore. Heading up this mid lane as the tie will be able to clear relatively effectively.
You know, Trinity Force is defined as the dueling item.
Probably duel him.
I don't think he can.
Oh yeah, that is a Guardian Angel on 957 as well. Who now is building towards what I hope is a Banner of Command.
957.
Yeah.
Well, you'd think so. There's not many other things that he'd go towards with that, right?
Unless he wants a Zonya's.
Zonya's Abyssal Scepter.
The Golden Tree. Or
Morello's,
a Nash's Tooth.
Nash's. He has a lot of base attack speed. I don't think he needs one. He does.
I like how that's your reasoning behind it. Oh, he doesn't need a Nash's Tooth.
Sorry,
He's got a lot of base attack speed.
I
It's
said
fine.
that without thinking. Like, I justify cheese on a regular basis, Atlas.
I know. I am sorry for that. Is 957 going to get shocked back and hit by a lot of the spells from the Taliyah, but he's able to shrug off a lot of it. Now there's a tie. Just clearing out wave after wave, looking to try and get chip damage onto this turret.
xiye is oddly blue reliant on that Swain. Only has the Rod of Ages. And so if he continues to use spells to push waves, he'll actually run out before the fight breaks out.
He's building a last item dash cannon by the looks of things as well.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
We nailed it in that pause.
Yeah, we did.
You know what gets over Taliyah walls? Dash cannon.
Yeah, do you know what is really, really, really cost ineffective? Dash
Late
cannon.
game dash cannon, because it scales with AP and he has none.
Yeah.
Well, he has a bit, but you know what I mean.
Also for the stats it gives you, not exactly.
Yeah, but it gets over Taliyah wall.
It does.
All right.
Or into Taliyah wall, depending on what you want.
It can.
As there is a lot of worked ground around here. You can see Rookie has to move left. He wants to be able to clear these ones out. xiye's getting bored.
That attack speed from Zatai is disgusting.
Yeah, and he's
It's
so
doing
sticky. Yeah, xiye just turns into a bird and says thanks to the minion wave.
Does no damage. He should have just left it at Sheen, I guess. He wants a 20% CDR.
I think Iceborne Gauntlet is still a pretty good item.
Yes. Yes, it is. But he's got a lot of attack speed. Of course, Trinity Force gives 40% now.
Yeah.
Up from 15.
Which is a huge increase.
It is.
If I had to say that, probably didn't.
And matching the cooldown reduction, of course, to Iceborne Gauntlet. It is a style choice as to which you'd prefer. If you want to be sticky in the way of slowing them, or if you want to be fast.
Well, Elder Drake is going to be the next option here. Will possibly be traded for a Baron buff as WE are actually over on that side of the map. xiye heading back to base, doesn't have any mana at all. See whether he can finish that Proto Belt now. There it is. So, Proto Belt completed. xiye on 6 items on the Swain. Repugnant.
He's looking for a teleport as well. He's actually just about to do it.
Yeah, there it is. So, teleport very deep behind IG. He's looking for that never move play. The Zonyas is going to run out as he just flashes on top of Rookie. Lands the never move. xiye is so huge in the back. Mystic doing so much Work from the front line as well, as Zero just jumps in. It's a double kill already for this Ezreal. Picks up the triple and tags Kid at the same time. Wants another one, but isn't going to be able to find it.
They'll just tank bottom, and they should be able to get themselves the inhibitor for this if they choose to tank it. Of course, 957 doesn't really feel your damage. That is 3 members dead from IG, and WE took their time, but they baited them to walk in.
And it's the patience out of WE. It's what has won them so many of these late games, because they never take unnecessary risks. Now the inhibitor's going to fall down. Xiye, the flanking Swain master himself, will start getting work done on these Nexus turrets, and Mystic over the side doing so much work onto Zatai. WE looking to close out the series. Game number 1 was good. Game number 2, they fell apart, but game number 3, they pull it all back. The late game masters win in the late game.
Eventually.
Yeah.
They're having their laugh beforehand, but absolutely right. They played the map. They forced IG to move to their every will.
Exactly.
And that's how they best you. Exactly what we see. IG, we saw our first Taliyah win.
We did.
But we watched another one lose. Because unfortunately for Rookie, he can't get through a Swain. It is a brick wall.
It certainly is, especially one that's able to flank so effectively. You can see Zero, huge smile on his face, but a lot of respect here for IG, as that was a hard-fought series. Mystic as well there on your screen, looking incredibly relieved.
They all have English logos now. It's all about believing and keep your dreams. That was the battle of tonight.
Well, they definitely kept theirs. WE solidifying that second spot in their group. And Group B prevailing actually now as well. So we're talking about sort of Group A versus Group B. Group B managing to find a little bit back here in this series, but it was hard.